All right. All right. How's everybody doing? We are live. This is the first episode of the Maniac Mindset podcast. Actually, I've not I've been talking about starting a new podcast for almost 2 years. Finally got it going. Some studio upgrade helped with that. Anyways, just to speed everybody up, this podcast is dedicated to musicians, entrepreneurs, business owners. Um, all of that. And in the context of the word maniac, it's meant for overly enthusiastic, as we all are with the crafts and passions and projects and careers that we dedicate our lives to. So the purpose of this during these crazy economic times is to find a new and creative and innovative past to go. Maybe try new things aside from what we were told to do our industries as we can put it. And so to start things off, I want to start my first guest. You wanted to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Stephen Adwell. I'm the owner of AMR Studio here in Tulsa, and it's a great opportunity to be here with you. I'm glad you asked me to be here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, thank you for coming on. Okay, so you have a few accolades. I believe you were nominated at the Tulsa Music Awards.
Yeah. I was nominated. That was pretty cool. Just to be nominated. I wasn't in Tulsa that long. At that time, I had just moved here from the Houston area. Nice. I got pushed out from Hurricane Harvey, and that's kind of what brought us here. I wanted to get closer to my family who live in Kansas. That's where I'm originally from.
Oh, nice. What city in Kansas?
Oh, I'm from a small town called Chanute, Kansas.
Oh, nice.
There's like 9,000 people. But we have a lot of not a lot for a town of 9,000 people. We've had a few artists that have come out of my town. A couple of guys. Back in the 90s, they started Puddle of Mud, and one of them wrote all their hit songs from their first album, Blurry, and She Effin' Hates Me, and then Jennifer Knapp, she was a big Christian artist back in the 90s, and there was a few other guys that got indie labels and stuff like that. So I had some people to look up to. When I was venturing. I gotta pop it up or something. But
yeah, man, that's awesome. Unfortunately, we the echo issue that we had apparently, according to the chat, it's like really bad.
Yeah, I don't even understand why.
Yeah,
I'm not hearing it. Pull out my headphones and see if that works.
Okay.
No, that's strange. I don't know. It's like.
Oh damn! I hear it.
Or if the setting is that's really bad.
Let me try some on my end. All right. Sorry, guys. Give us a few minutes to figure this out.
It was really bad with the speakers. I don't know what the deal is. The noise suppression and the noise echo cancellation is on.
Yeah, I have it on my end as well.
And there's nothing really else in the settings here. We see this audit. Check 1 2.
If you guys can listen in the chat, if that echo goes away.
Check. Yeah. No, that didn't do it. Yeah, that is so strange. I literally don't have any other options for my mic input. I don't know if it would have made a difference if I would have set up a little mic set up with my little mobile interface.
Let's try that.
What?
You said you want to try your cell phone?
Oh no! I wasn't going to use that. No, I meant I have like a little Focusrite preamp. I was just all over the place today, and I didn't have time to set it up because I don't have like a webcam on my studio set up.
Yeah, I got you. Let's see, I'm doing some research real quick.
I could try it with my phone. Hold on. I'm gonna leave real quick.
Okay. All right, guys, I'm gonna do my best to keep you entertained while we figure this out. Yeah, we had this issue behind the scenes before we went live, and our concern was you guys be able to hear it, and I can't hear it on my end for some reason. So, and we have the echo cancellation option, so that should fix it. So, anyway, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, this is the first episode of the Maniac Mindset Tour, and we have quite some Maniac technical difficulties, but I'm sure we'll be able to get it fixed. So, if you guys want to jump in the chat and leave some questions for the guest while he's in there, I'm gonna pop in. Oh, I think that's him popping in. Give me a second, guys. It's been a while since I've done this. Okay. All right.
Okay. Hold on. All right. Is that better?
Okay. Is that better, guys? Because it sounds normal to me.
I mean, I still hear an echo on my side.
Okay. Wolf Ugly says it was gone for a sec.
Let's see if my Is that better? Is that better? I still have an echo on my end. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. No. I have no idea what the deal is.
Okay. Wolf Ugly says just a tad.
I don't even have audio output set with these.
Yeah. Let me see. Still got an echo.
Let me see.
All right. All right.
Well, it's not.
try something. Do you have a way of turning down headphones? I'm reading that a lot of times it could be the sounds picking up from the headphones.
Yeah, that's what I read too. Hold on. I'm gonna go to my settings.
Let me try this. I have another idea. Okay, try now. Oh,
check. I don't know. That didn't do anything. It's so strange.
Yeah.
And nothing online is really giving me anything to fix it. I've done everything it said to fix it. So I don't know if it's like my internet connection or something.
Let's see. Microphone filters. Well, I think we'll just probably have to go with it. Let's see. Got one more thing I'm reading on this.
The video quality is better from my phone.
That's funny.
I got a 10-year-old laptop over here.
Yeah. Here's what I'll probably do. Let me turn down your mic. See if that helps.
I know the fact that it's like happening on two different devices of mine. It might be something to do with the host. Like it's getting my audio. And then it's pumping audio back. It's doing it somewhere on your end. Like there's got to be like an output mute or something.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Let's see, output. All right. All right, try again.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Nah, I still hear myself twice.
Let's see.
I don't have my AirPods like blasting, so it shouldn't be picking it up. You know, like that when you're like talking to somebody and they're on speakerphone and you're on speakerphone and sometimes you hear that delay. I think it's something going on like that. Like you're hearing my voice and then it's going through your microphone. But it like you got headphones. It's like
let me turn my headphones down.
A digital thing.
Yeah. How about now?
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. No, it's like a digital thing.
Okay.
Something to do with the streaming platform. Like it's causing the feedback loop.
Okay. Let me see. Oh. All right. How about now?
Check 1 2. I don't hear it. Do you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so what was that?
I just had a I just turned off a button. My audio box has a few buttons. The new audio box I have, I'm still utilizing. So you said loop. I have a button that says loop. Like I just turn the knobs. I don't mess with a lot of the buttons, but earlier when I was testing this, I was only hearing myself from one side, so I was configuring that out. Okay, so it's my fault. All right. All right, guys, we're back up.
Hey, we figured it out. Hey, it's your first episode.
Yeah, and 2 years, so new product. Okay, guys. My apologies for all that, but just hey, it just goes to show nothing's perfect. So, Brett from Wolf Ugly says way better. All right, all right. My bad, guys. So, but at least we figured it out. I would hate to have to make you guys go through a lot of bad echoes to get through it. So let's do this. let's start from scratch, and that way people can hear your story a lot more clearly. And so, all right. So let's just start from the top. Just tell everyone about you and your story and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, how long do we have? Like how much of the story do you want to hear? I'll just try to give it a short, little brief statement, a little background about myself. So I own AMR Studio here in Tulsa. I've been in Tulsa for like 8 years now. My wife and I got flooded twice in Houston. I'm not originally from Houston. My wife and I are from Southeast Kansas, but we kept moving south because she used to work for oil and gas. So,
oh, that's crazy. My girl works in oil and gas.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
They
have a lot of high-paying jobs.
They do.
Yeah. So that's what took us to Houston, and I really enjoyed Houston. I was able to accomplish a lot of my goals in music. When I moved to Houston, I started a band there, and we toured and everything. And
nice.
And so I knocked off a lot of goals that I had set. Being a small town kid with big dreams. A lot of people in music will, interact with the industry people at some point, and they just dangle your dreams in front of you, and then then they'll just ghost you. So I still have people that are dangling that dream that work for major labels in front of me. So it continues. But maybe one day, I'll be able to check that box off. So we got flooded in Hurricane Harvey. That was the second time we got flooded. We got flooded the year before. So instead of rebuilding my studio in Houston for a third time, we decided to relocate so that our kids could be closer to our family. So my wife worked for Phillips 66 in Bartlesville. And so they were able to transfer back to Bartlesville. So we moved to Tulsa so that I could open up the studio and start over here. And it's been a great 8 years. Here in Tulsa, I've worked with a lot of talented people here in Tulsa. So I'm grateful for that, being what they call a transplant. And it's been awesome. I really enjoy Tulsa. There's a great music scene here. There's a lot of rich history in Tulsa, so I'm glad to be here.
Nice. My girl Bo Peep hopped in. What did she say? Houston sucks. I never moved there, thankfully. One of her former employers relocated to Houston, moved out of here, and she's just not a fan. I was in Houston once on a tour. I like the palm trees, but and there was a cool venue we played at. Other than that, I didn't see a whole lot, but I always hear about hurricanes, and we can survive the tornadoes here in Oklahoma, but Hurricane Katrina and all those, the videos I see are just way too devastating. So
and Houston floods just from like a typical rainstorm. You know, the first time we got flooded in 2016, it was just like a standard rainstorm. It was just like 12 inches of rain. And then we had, 24 inches of water in our house. And then Hurricane Harvey was 50 inches of rain, and we had like 6-7 feet of water in our house. So we like, when it comes to like Houston in terms of that, like I don't like, I definitely do not like, but the ability to move somewhere and then knock off a lot of my bucket list, music endeavors, and be able to see success in terms of my career in music. That was really cool. That's what I liked about Houston. I don't like the traffic either. The traffic sucks.
Oh yeah, I remember the traffic being crazy.
Yeah.
But that's kind of Texas all around.
Yeah.
Also, Brett from Wolf Ugly chimed in. He said, wait, I'm hitting. Okay. I wasn't impressed when I visited either. No, I'm more of an Austin guy.
Austin was cool. I played a bunch of shows in Austin.
Yeah,
I got a lot of friends in Austin that I met playing music, so.
Yeah, nice.
That's one of the cool things I enjoyed about touring, is meeting all these new people, all these really creative and talented people all over the place. That's one of my favorite things about running a studio too, is meeting new people that are just like super creative and talented.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So anyway, so you moved here. What, you said you were in a band? Are you still currently in one?
I'm not really in a band. I have a recording project. I do a lot of that, where I'll write music, and I just have work with people. I have a project that's called Beasts of the Intergalactic Rainforest, and it's like synth rock.
Nice.
And I do that with one of my best friends. He was like in every music project I ever was involved in through high school into college. And then when I moved away to Houston, that's when it kind of ended. And then when we moved like 3 years ago, I hit him back up. He lives up in Kansas City. And I was like, hey, we can do this kind of like remote thing, and I'll send you some tracks and see if you can write to it. And but then he decided he wanted to come down here and record with me in the studio. So he would come down periodically, and we'd knock out a bunch of songs at once.
Nice.
And so we've released like 17 songs now. We're going to release one more here soon. And then I'm starting another project with a guy named Vaughn Owen. He's the singer and guitar player for a band called Bent Horizon. And
nice.
he'd been, texting me, like, hey, when are we going to collab? And I was like, I want to kind of go and see what other direction I can go. With my music. And so we're going to start another recording project. Maybe, he likes to play live. And he's here in Oklahoma. So there might be a chance that I'll start playing live again, but I'm not going to guarantee it.
What instrument do you most prefer?
So I play drums and piano.
Nice.
But drums are definitely my main instrument. That's what I really like gravitated towards. But my mom's a music teacher, so I was forced to take piano lessons. So I spent my youth taking piano lessons, but
Awesome.
I'm no virtuoso. I didn't practice as much as I wanted to. I found that I liked playing my own ideas more than other people's, and so I kind of was just like a rebel and didn't want to practice my actual piano pieces until like the week before a recital, and then I'd just like practice hard and memorize that for the recital, and then it'd be gone. I'd forget it. But when you write your own music, like a lot of times you remember that stuff a lot easier.
Yeah, totally.
So
totally. Okay, so you currently own a recording studio here in Tulsa?
Yes.
Yeah. So what, aside from being a band, what made you want to go into starting a recording studio and be a studio producer?
Well, I mean, most people get into production because they're an artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I basically just started learning how to record um, as a backup plan, you know.
Yeah.
And but then I just kept buying more gear to chase, getting a better sound, and just like continue that process over a decade, and to get where I am today. But it was just I found a deeper passion for the production side
Mm-hmm.
after touring. Um, I love performing, and I love playing shows and meeting all people, but it was like the in between stuff and all the drama that comes with being in a band. Um, I'm a firm believer that most bands don't fail; they just kind of like implode from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with 2 to 5 other guys in the band with different personalities, different emotions, and sometimes that gets difficult, you know. And so a lot of bands just break up and disband just because of relationship issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I was always recording and producing my own stuff in an attempt to get quality production. Because I was the only one in most of my bands that was like really funding anything. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
when you're that person, it kind of becomes difficult in that sense, because when nobody else is kind of contributing, that can also cause issues, and I know that happens a lot. And then that's why they say um, every band is like 2 core guys, 1 to 2 core guys, um, and the other people come and go, but as long as you keep those 2 people in the band usually succeeds. um, but or that one person, there's
Mm-hmm.
always 1 or 2 people in a musical group that are really driven uh, to go the distance. um, but when those 2 people start to have issues, then that's when you start to see bands fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
um, and until you get that big deal and you start making all that money that used to be there but maybe not there anymore with today's industry.
Mm-hmm.
You'll read stories and interviews where they're just like together just because it's like a paycheck at that point.
Oh
They have
yeah.
enough money where they'll
Uh-huh.
put this guy on his own bus, so there's limited interaction between them. um, but yeah, so it really just came down to um, I just kept growing more for my passion in production from all the bands that I've been in, and it just kept growing, and I kept accumulating gear, and I enjoyed working with other artists, um, and helping them along the way, because um, working and if you want to do this, you want to be in production, I always encourage you, even if it's just a recording project like what I do on the side, it helps you stay creative, and you can do a lot more creative processes in your production, working on your own material, um, and learn new techniques, because you can experiment more. You're more free to experiment on new ideas that you might chase, or new techniques you want to chase, because sometimes you know it's a there's a fine line. You don't want to like get too crazy and try to change an artist's sound too much, um, and so you can't always just experiment on with production techniques with artists that you're working with. So it's always good to have your solo stuff to keep that creative juice going, and then it's just an outlet for yourself, because sometimes you just have musical ideas that you want to get out, um, that you can't express without making your own music when you're just working with other artists, if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely. I started off in bands, and you're 100% on point with everything you just said. So I think one of the core elements of keeping a band together is you got to keep you got to keep some of that like brotherhood or sisterhood or what have you. And just because you started a band with people who you really had chemistry with. And but yeah, once it kind of gets further along and it feels and you've operated more like a business and there's money involved and all that kind of stuff, and then some members are closer to personal relationships and what have you, or the road kind of wears them down, you'll definitely you can build some kind of that hostility within the band, especially if you're going a certain direction.
Yeah.
And maybe not everybody in the band agrees with that direction.
Yeah, totally.
So
We've seen it with one of the biggest pop punk bands ever,
Yep.
Blink-182,
Yep.
And then now they're back together after 20
Right.
years or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Another good example to me was Slipknot. Because Slipknot was that band that was 9 members, and they're able to stay together for a good long while. And then I think a lot more corporate decisions were made just within the label, and then also Korn. That's another example when they had to replace members, and then there was lawsuits and over who's over royalties and all kinds of who owned what rights to the catalog and so forth, and so which is a unfortunate thing to see from bands that we grew up with. But also certain people want to move on to other projects and all that. Brett says, I'm guessing he's referring to music. Such a beautiful approach to a creative outlet. And he agreed with Freitas, what Freitas said earlier, just say no to cover songs. I had a member of a band who got kind of mad at me because I was making suggestions. They were 3-piece. I think he kind of misunderstood what I was saying. Well, they were a 3-piece and they played a lot of originals. They did a few Green Day covers, and they did a fabulous job. Not just their original music, but even just they didn't butcher Green Day. They played it within their own style, just like Marilyn Manson does Sweet Dreams, for example, or like a Limp Bizkit doing Faith. So they kind of made it their own, and then and they said they were just trying to form some finances to fund the band. I suggested, well, casinos play a lot for cover bands. Not saying you have to be one, but maybe perform some cover sets and then collect some funds. And then once you've kind of built that establishment, let them do original sets or something like that. Like kind of like a temporary thing. Kind of like you're saying, well, I'm trying to, get into, working for a venue and then because you're trying to get your band like on that stage or something like that. Just kind of something small working towards it. Oh yeah, the drummer did not like that at all. And then I had to explain what I was talking about because I guess he felt that I was diminishing them to a cover band, and I wasn't. It was just an idea because they do pay. But I just said if you're looking for finances and you guys can play covers very well, but also there's plenty of other bars and clubs where you can mesh the two. And I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I'm a man of a.
That's totally how it works. A lot of the red dirt bands that are really successful in the area, like they'll play the casinos and they play a majority of covers, and then they'll sprinkle in their originals. I'm going to give you an example. Like Houston's there's like, I don't know, 7 million people there. So there are tons of musicians there that, make a living playing music live, and they're in tribute bands, they're in cover bands, they're in church bands, and then they'll have their original music that they do as well. Sometimes, nobody wants to. I just saw, well, not to further this thought, like I just saw this video. It was one of those late night talk shows, and it was a comedian that was on there. I think it was Bill Burr, and he starts making jokes about the musicians in the band, and he was like, none of these guys want to this wasn't their dream. He's like, they all wanted to be individual rock stars, you know?
Right.
And, but then he was like, but like they're here and they're making a living and they're, you know, paying their bills and taking care of their family, you know? So, you know, and I think there's like a shift in most musicians, because most of the time the musicians that I've met along the way that end up being in tribute bands or cover bands or something like that, they tend to, you know, be in their late 30s and their 40s when they kind of make that shift, you know. You know, there's a point where it's like, okay, well, I love playing music. I want to keep playing music. I want to get paid for this. And you see that, oh, this country band will pay me $200 to play, you know, at the casino, and I just got to learn 30 songs, you know, and then it's the same 30 songs that you're going to play, and then you'll have that gig every week, maybe 2 times a week, and then you're making $400 for, you know, in a weekend. And then if you have a church gig, you know, they'll pay you $150 for a Sunday morning, you know, type of thing. And then all of a sudden you're making, you know, $1,200, $2,400 a month just playing music, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know. And then you still have all of that time in between that to practice, write new music, record, and all of that. So I think that there always tends to be a shift, you know, because at the end of the day, the goal is to play music and get paid, right? And so however that happens, I think, you know, we should always reflect and realize, like, hey, I'm very fortunate. Like, I'm getting paid to be in music 24/7, you know, because we're all taking a leap of faith to venture into this world of independent music, you know, and it's getting way harder to make money with your original music, you know. Just if you do simple math and break down like how easy it was for artists 20 years ago to make money off of their investment of, you know, because it's an investment when you go into a studio and you get production, right? No matter how much money you spend, how little you spend, you're still spending money and you want to make that money back. And when you would press CDs, that physical CD you could sell for $5, $10, you know, and so that adds up, and eventually you recoup that money, right? Well, now streaming service, they pay what, like 0.0008 cents per stream, you know, and it varies based on the country that you're getting streams. So some countries pay more, some countries pay less. So it's not even 0.0008, you know, it could be less. So then to recoup that cost is becoming harder and harder. I met a band because you know, my there if you've been to Warped Tour, there was always artists, DIY artists, independent artists that would stand in line and ask people to listen to their music, and they have headphones, right? And they play their music, and then these people at these big festivals like that, they're there to discover new music. Like, that's your demographic, right? And so you could sell CDs on the street to people, and then, you know, and you're meeting them and all of that. It's like being out on the road and playing without playing shows, and you're just selling your CDs. People used to travel with the Warped Tour and be on tour. I met lots of bands because my band did that. We went to the local Houston Warped Tour and just like showed our music to people and sold CDs on the side, like these other artists. And this band, they ended up actually performing in the Warped Tour because they did that. They traveled the entire Warped Tour and sold 30,000 CDs just by traveling with them. And then the next year they were on the Warped Tour, because the Warped Tour, everybody that's involved, they see that and they see that hustle. Well, now what do you do? You know, like, hey, listen to my band. Hopefully they'll subscribe to your Spotify, you know, and become a follower. But like if they listen to your whole album 10 times, that still does, like, you're not going to make that $10 you would have made being able to sell them that physical CD, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And like, if you sell it for $10, what is that? And you sell 30,000 records, that's like $300,000 they made traveling, and they didn't even play, you know, they just followed
Right.
for an entire summer. So like, we, like, artists today, we have a lot harder process to discover and figure out, how do we get to these listeners, how do we sell them our music, you know? If that makes any sense, you know, it's super difficult. And I'm not saying that like it can't be done. I'm just saying, like, what we talked about, like, to put that all together into perspective, like, it's not that, you know, like, to kind of shift and play a few gigs a month playing cover songs to get that payday, you know, like, there's something to be, that's honorable, you know, like, it just take that new perspective and that new you know, change of attitude towards it, you know, because like most musicians, we don't want to play covers. We want people to like listen to our music and feel what we feel, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So I got a couple comments, 2 on Facebook. I got 2 from Ray. In this same vein, we find balance between protecting the works established, but also not being so gatekeepy that we drive people away. I am a Zennial, 1978 to 1985. I am too. They'll have to pry my CD book in the car from my rickety old broad paws. Holding a CD hits different in terms of satisfaction. I've been introducing my 6-year-old twins to tapes, VHS, and cassette. And then Brett says, physical media truly is king. I agree. And then I have a comment on Instagram. For some reason, it's not popping in the chat, but I have Instagram pulled up from JD Willie73. My son produces remotely with another that he's never met. Follow, I think, FTF. I think that's follow to follow. I don't know if I have that, have that correct. Check them out. They're called Lead to Astray, Oklahoma City.
Lead to Astray. I'm just gonna put this in a note.
Oh, lead to. I should be wearing my glasses. The screen's too far away. I'm pretty sure I got that right.
Okay.
All right. So shout out to anyone watching. Yeah. If you guys have any questions or any statements, go ahead and pop them up in the chat. I can pop them out on the screen as long as they're in the chat. I'm still working out the kinks for Instagram. This is my first time doing any live streaming on Instagram, specifically through a desktop. So I had to do some extra shit doing that versus Facebook and YouTube, which is just works like that. So anyways, so I guess moving forward, what would you say, how would you describe like the most successful like strategy used as far as building a career as a studio producer, engineer? Like, you know, what's the strategy you use that worked best for you?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Right.
You know, I use a lot of social media. You know, being from a small town, I've had to use the internet, you know, and because like I'm from a town, I graduated with 100 people, right? And
oh wow.
So, and my best friend was the only person in my class that really wanted to do music, you know. You had, you know, and so like I've always seen the opportunity that the internet provided. I saw artists break out because of pure volume or MySpace, and so I saw that avenue. I was like, if I can utilize the internet, I can achieve my goals, you know. So and then, you know, being an artist myself, I used to travel, I used to tour, and I played a lot of local shows, you know, and so I met people that way. And and so I use a combination. Mostly I use social media today. I don't get out as much as I used to. I have two small kids, two small young kids. Well, they're not that small. I got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old. So like I got to wake up at 6:30 every morning. Like I don't stay out late. I'm getting old. I fall asleep super early. Uh, so I don't get out as much as I used to. So I use a lot of internet strategies. I don't post as often as I used to. I think everybody goes through this, like you'll post a lot and then you just kind of get burnt out and you kind of take a step back. And the algorithm punishes you for that. So if you can continue to stay motivated, you can see, I've gotten so much work just from Instagram, posting on Instagram. So I will say that the internet and social media is a wonderful thing. It's like a double-edged sword, right? Like I love and I hate it at the same time. Like
yeah, me too.
I feel like I'll just spend hours scrolling. I'm like, what did I do? But then I love it at the same time because it's helped me achieve my dreams. So
yeah,
and so I think that's mostly kind of my strategy. I've done ads and I've driven traffic. I kind of like, however, like I've always taken the approach, I guess, and another way to say it is like, however I promoted myself as an artist, I've tried to promote myself in that same way. I use the same strategies that I used as an artist. And I also don't want to try to come off in a way that like, it's like, hey, like, look at me, work with me, work with me, So I post a lot of content where I try to actually promote the artists that I'm working with more so than myself. It's like, hey, because like my career as an engineer producer is most reflective. My work is most reflective of the artists that I work with. If I do my job really well, then they sound really, really good. And then they can achieve their dreams because they sound more professional, right? So and so I like to promote them because if they get somewhere, then I can get to another place in my career, right? Like if nobody hears their music, then nobody hears my work. So it's more about them than it is me. It's like, hey, I'm working with these guys, they're super talented, like, go check them out, and hopefully, with my platform, people will discover new music, through me, and then they'll have that artist I work with has new fans, because at the end of the day, they need those fans more than I do, because the more people they connect with, the better, the more likely that they'll the more likely they'll want to continue pursuing this, because this no matter what avenue you take in music, it's a roller coaster of emotions. And so like I always joke, like if a record label came to me and was like wanted me to sign like a production deal and it was like the worst deal ever, and they were just going to be like, hey, we're going to put you to the side, because I believe record labels collect talent just to like do nothing with it.
They're
like
notorious
collectors
for that.
Yeah, they just want to collect as much talent as they can without with and because they'll write your project off as a tax write-off. Like it means nothing to them to just like throw away $1 million. They do it all the time. But I always joke that like I'll take that deal at this stage of my life just for the validation. Like, hey, they thought I was awesome, so I hope I answered that question.
Oh, for sure. While we're on the subject of your studio, I did have a great opportunity to actually visit your studio.
Yeah.
It was a few years ago. I think it was during the Tulsa Music Awards when you got nominated for Best Producer. I think it was.
Yeah, it was like Best Producer and Best Studio.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so I had to check it out for myself. Want to say yes, it was very impressive. I remember even seeing like your main I call it the dashboard room. it's where the computer and the soundboard, and then I was slightly intimidated, to be honest with you, because it just looks so if I'm mistaken, do you have analog setup? Because from my
I don't.
perspective, it looked like it.
Yeah, so I have a lot of outboard gear,
Mhm.
and that just feeds into Pro Tools. So I
Yeah.
have, I set up so I can track 24 channels into Pro Tools simultaneously.
Nice.
But I also have a few outboard compressors, EQs, and things like that. So I do a lot of colorization going into tape. So I'll choose various preamps and microphones for different things, and process it with compression and EQ going into Pro Tools. Kind of
Nice.
like that. That's kind of a little bit of an old school approach. They use some the tools that you would use in the box on the way in. That doesn't mean that like I'm not going to use more compression and EQ when I'm in the box. Like it's a combination, because there's an entire process in production where um, I like to say it like you can get 30 dB of gain reduction out of
Hmm.
something, but you don't do it with one compressor, because that one compressor, if you start hitting it that hard, you're going to start hearing distortion. It's not meant
Hmm.
to take that. Um, so unless you like that kind of thing where you're like, I really want to like destroy this sound and make it gritty, like then yeah, go by all
Yeah.
means, like hit that compressor to where it's just in the red the entire time on that gain reduction. But like, so I like to, like the process is like you spread it out over a series of steps. That's why a lot of guys, when they're mixing, have like different buses for different things. You can use parallel compression, and then you can have a subgroup for compression, and then by the end of it, you've kind of bust everything and routed everything, that every along the steps, you've hit like minus 3 dB on a compressor, and then it goes to the next bus and it's getting another 3 dB, maybe 6 dB, and then it goes to your pre-master and it's getting hit again, and then your master hits it again. So overall, you've gain reduced your audio, 20 to 30 dB, but you don't notice it because you're not getting those artifacts. You're using different attack and release times in that process to catch different things that you're shaping, right? Because every time you use a compressor or something, you're kind of changing it slightly. So you might make something have more of a transient, but then you've squashed everything after that initial transient, and it has a lot of attack. But then your peaks actually change when if you were to print that track into a new audio track. When I say print, like you bus it and you record it in a new track to commit to that audio. In Pro Tools, you can just commit audio and it'll put it in a new track for you or whatever. But like you can then see like, oh, well, my dynamics have changed. Okay, well then you can use another compressor and then kind of like tame those peaks out to kind of smooth it out some more, because you use the first compressor to shape the sound the way you wanted it to be. So like there's a process to it. So you can get a ton of gain reduction out of something, but to get the results where you have clean audio that sounds pleasing, it's over time. So if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. And
Oh,
it's
for
the same
sure.
thing
For
with
sure.
EQ. Every tool that we use, it's like what am I trying to accomplish? What am I shaping, toning the sound, or because everybody tries to say, oh, compressors are just for dynamics, but there's different parts of dynamics that you're trying to control at
Hmm.
different stages, if that makes sense. You're
Right.
not just trying to level out the peaks. You can change the energy of a sound with compression if you use the attack and release times appropriately for what you're trying to achieve, what you're hearing and what you're listening to. Every approach is different, and so you spread those things out over the mixing phase, and a lot of it happens in the recording phase. So I use a lot of outboard gear to hit to tape, essentially, which is Pro Tools, and then I do all of the other things in the mix, and then the mastering stage, right? So there's all these processes, and so I use outboard gear in my mix stage as well, because I like it. I may look young, but I'm almost 40, So I've had a lot of experience with analog equipment and live sound in studios. So I like to touch physical buttons and stuff. It makes me feel like I'm doing something, like literally doing something. So, and I love digital too, because like I have outboard gear, but like I don't need any more. Technically, if I buy any more, it's just because I want it, because I like the look of seeing gear and racks, But I also like the look of paying $29 when Waves puts stuff on sale, and I get this like iconic compressor, and I only paid $29 for it, and I can put it over 100 tracks.
Yeah.
If I wanted to be able to do that 30 years ago, I'd have to buy 100, 1176 compressors, and who's got that kind of money, the majority of us don't,
Yeah.
So
So I got a few questions. Oh, probably two. All right. Cut it off, but I'll still read it since I can see it right here. From Ray, in your opinion, is it better to have a full spread plan on production of one album at a time, containing a plethora sampling of stylization, or releasing or release of shorter albums, each with their own differences? Key point being to avoid staleness, maintain recognition of style, but not also go so far removed from already appreciated ways, aka experiment, but don't pull a Garth, quote unquote, Chris Gaines.
That's a loaded question. Okay.
Let's see if I can kind of break it down. It's better to have a full spread play to production of one album at a time, or release of shorter albums. I'm thinking what she's asking is more of, should you have like a full long album, or should you keep things short?
Yeah.
So
it really, in today's industry, like I think it went back 50 years, the early days of recording, when they were recording like 2 tracks, they set everybody up at once and kind of positioned them and put up 2 microphones, and it was a single driven marketplace. I think we've kind of gone towards that, and the album is more for the artist's perspective, right? Like, we want to make the album. We want to take people on a journey with our music from beginning to end. Like, hey, this is the emotional ride I want to take you on. But if we really think about it, the majority of music listeners are kind of, what's the word? Kind of like, if the music's on, they're going to listen to it and they might bob their head, but it's just like passing by. It helps pass the time, right? That's your average listener. They're just, it's just there, and they enjoy it and they like it. And so the majority of music listeners have always enjoyed singles over albums. The people that listen to the album are your super fans. Those are the people that love everything that you do, right? So we want those fans, right? Because they're gonna buy our records, they're gonna buy our shirts, they're gonna buy whatever merchandise that we sell, which is where the money is at. Our music, this is a side note, our music is the gimmick to get people to buy the real business, which is merchandise.
Yeah, okay? I've been preaching that for I don't even know how long.
But that's where the money's at.
Yeah, merchandise has been, as an artist, and then as someone who's been forming a production company and label and doing merchandise for that brand as well. Yeah, merchandise. I mean, it's helped me early on the road whenever we took unpredictable paying gigs, and it definitely helped, because you just never know who you're going to reach and who's going to want to take a T-shirt or a hat home with them with your name on it, and then I definitely, I highly agree with that. I've told artists, we lost him. He'll come back on. But yeah, I would rather finish my thought when he goes back in. I swear to God, there's not one streaming interview I've ever done where someone where that doesn't happen. It's happened to me. many times. So, as amazing as live streaming is, it still's got its flaws. Hence earlier. Yep. See.
I turned my Wi-Fi off. Was it me
Yeah.
or you?
Yeah, we lost you, but that tends to happen.
Oh snap! Hold on. I don't close out of tabs on my phone.
Yeah.
And it just like I pressed the wrong thing trying to scroll, and then it like took me to a old tab. I was like, oh no, where'd it go? Because sometimes it'll like Safari will put that tab like when I open up something new, and it'll put it up like 100 tabs.
Yeah.
Ahead instead of the very the most recent, if that makes any sense.
Oh
and
yeah.
So I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to find this.
Yeah, it's
back.
That's happened to me. I can't tell you how many guests I've had on past podcasts that's happened. It's one of the flaws of live streaming. You can just randomly get kicked off, but you can always pop back in.
Yeah. I wanted to finish that thought.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The album. So I would say, today, because no matter even if you release an album, you're still going to promote it as a single. Each song as a single, right? And then there's like techniques and stuff that people were doing where they called it waterfall. So you release 5 songs for an EP as a single, and then you would repackage that as an EP. So then you'd have that for the algorithm and things like that. And so there's all these techniques that people would use. So I would say, like, even if you do record an album, I don't think it really matters in today's day and age where every song has to have a certain stylization or genre. It can, like you can have whatever kind of song you want. And because you're going to promote it first as singles, and then you can repackage it and promote it as an album as well. So the way the industry is now, you have so much more freedom. The only downside is that the payout isn't as good as it used to be.
Right? Oh yeah.
So that's the only thing. Like it's easier than ever to record and release your music than any other time in history. So that's a beautiful thing. But the downside of that is the competition. There's more competition, and we're still fighting the money that major labels have to back artists and get them ahead of you in the algorithm. And I firmly believe that they create campaigns to push artists on the back end of these social media platforms that make it seem like these artists aren't signed to labels or have any affiliation. And they have the backing and they pay for ads, but it doesn't show as a sponsored ad. Because if you remember a few years ago, TikTok had Universal Music Group pulled all of their artists' music from the app. Like,
I remember that
because they couldn't come to a deal, and it's like, well, what deal was that? It's obvious that they pay TikTok and Meta and all the other platforms, like in the background to push and write algorithms to favor their artists, and just like they did with radio,
yeah.
And so it's no different. But now, and you got to think, well, why wouldn't they want? Like it's not unimaginable to think that the labels don't care if their artist says we're independent, because the money still flows through the label. They get paid regardless. So, it doesn't matter if it says, the artist is with Universal Music Group, because the money's going to flow through Universal Music Group or whatever label it is. So, but anyway, that's just a tangent. But so you can release your music however you want, package it however you want. That's the beauty of it. The thing that you have to be more concerned about is, how do you get people to hear your music? How do you get the listeners? because there's so much music being released
Right.
every day. So I don't think it matters how you package your music. If it has the same sounds, we can even go back in history and you can listen to the Beatles when they just became a recording artist and they didn't play live anymore. Like they had so many different styles of songs. They just like threw songs on the albums, you know, and you'd
Right.
listen to it and you would know like, oh, well, this guy wrote this song and this guy in the band wrote this one and this guy wrote this one. Like, but it still sounded like the Beatles because they were involved. So I think sometimes we also think that like, oh, we're doing something so different with this song, but because but when we take a step back, we'll notice that like it still sounds like your music because it's your ideas, it's your sounds, and you'll start and what you like. So the taste is still there, and people recognize that taste, and they still associate it with you. So I don't think that you know, if that makes any sense. You know, you're like, no matter what song you write, it's still going to sound like you. You know, it may just be like what we'd call genre bending or something, if that makes sense. So,
all right. So I got a couple questions regarding your studio. Freitas wants to know what's your price guide on your studio time, and then Ray asked, second, Mr. Freitas, what I think she meant to say services. What services within reason? Oh, what serves? I don't know. I thought what serves within reason for studio pricing.
So, you know, I do various things. You know, like it depends on the project. So, like if you're just gonna pop in and do like an hour session because you're coming in with like pre-mixed tracks that you got from a producer or something, and you're just gonna record vocals, I usually just charge by the hour, and which is like $75 an hour. And so we'll, you know, get that tracked, and it always depends on how much time is going to be taken in the studio. I always say and it's a project like that, prepare for 2 hours because we're like you're going to want to do something different because you're going to hear it back, and you know, so it like it doesn't take 3 minutes because your song's 3 minutes to do something. But always go in prepared for the studio. Everybody, you know, I just say that because, you know, not everybody knows that, you know, so I just like to reiterate that. Be prepared, be well rehearsed, you know. You want to be able to perform your music like blindfolded, essentially. Like it's just locked in your brain. Like you
muscle
could
memory.
Like muscle memory. You could be checked out mentally and you could play your song or sing your song. Like that's how well you need to know that song, which you should already have that if you're performing it, you know. You know, and we've all been there, you know. You play live and then you have a brain fart and you're like, oh, I messed up, you know. It for a musician it's a lot easier to like cover, but as a vocalist, you know, everybody like knows like, oh, you just stopped singing like and turned around and like walked off stage or something for a second. I don't know. My singer used to do that. You just be like, oh, and then walk off and come back.
Right.
So it happens to everybody. But musicians, like if I mess up, like I can recover a lot easier. People don't notice it as much. But anyway, and then for like bigger projects or something, like it's an album or it's an EP or like a band where it requires a lot more time, I typically, you know, try to package a per song basis, you know, and even with like artists that are like, let's say hip hop, R&B or whatever, where they're coming in with pre-recorded tracks, like I'll even do project rates for that. You know, just because I want to help people save money, because like if every studio charged by the hour for every hour that they work, then nobody could ever afford to make a record with somebody, you know, with a professional. You know, it's super time consuming, and so I just want to do my best work and have things, you know, deliver something that, you know, each and every artist is going to be proud of, I do my best to do that. And,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think there's any studio in Tulsa that is nickel and diming. I think everybody like does a lot of essentially free work that artists don't realize that's happening in the background.
Yeah.
Because we just want to, we know what it takes to make a record that competes with, all of your favorite artists. And
Mm-hmm.
if we skip any of those steps, then, you're going to know, you're going to be like, oh, well, it sounds good, but there's something off, if that makes sense. And,
Yeah.
so no one wants to cut, cut corners,
Right. Yeah,
because
of
it
course.
doesn't benefit anybody. Doesn't benefit the studio. Doesn't benefit the artist. And I think as far as I don't plan to get rich making music or producing. Never have. I have been fortunate that I married above my class, so
Right.
my wife provides my lifestyle. So I certainly don't. You know, but
I
the
gotcha.
base number is $75 an hour. But like, you come in with a project, like it varies. I'm not gonna break your bank.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Of
gonna make
course.
you. I'm not gonna make you choose rent over
Mm-hmm.
your song.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you wouldn't choose your rent your song over your
Right.
rent.
Uh-huh.
Like I would not
Well, yeah.
recommend
That's
that. I think
yeah.
I think those are stories that are manufactured for dramatization,
Oh yeah.
for marketing purposes. You know,
For sure, man. That's quite noble. So, what artists and bands have you worked or have you had in the studio, client wise? I know you just recently got My Friends and Wolf Ugly.
yeah. I've worked with a lot of people. Man, let me. I don't know if I can remember all of them on the spot. So we'll just start with like most recent stuff, and like because I have artists that I've worked with in Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and so I've worked with Wolf Ugly, Bent Horizon, um, Through It All. Yeah, see, I'm already going blank trying to think of everybody.
It happens.
And Fetch, uh, Colton Crow. Um, oh, I've got his face. Just trying to remember his name.
Right.
Man, I'm just gonna pull up my website, and it's just got a few of them. I mean, there's so
Also,
many people. It's hard to keep track.
do you want to tell the people your website? Is that where they
Yeah,
would want to book a session with you? Is through your website?
yeah. You basically like, you can fill out a artist production plan form. You can just hit my contact and send me an email. And it is amrstudio.com. A as in Adwell, M as in music, R as in recording, studio.com. Yeah,
Here, I'm
so
gonna
I,
do
I,
this.
I
Oh,
am
give
not
this. Give me. It's a AMR, right?
AMR. Yeah. Yeah,
Studios.
it's totally not original, right? Like um
Studios.com.
studio. Let me
Studio.
see.
Okay. I'm
Let
gonna
me
edit
let me
your
see.
name so it'll be right there on the screen for everybody.
I'm gonna type
There
it
we go.
out for you in the chat and make sure. Yeah, there was a reason behind that. I was okay. Yeah, the reason why I named it Adwell Music and Recording was I met this guy. Was working. I work. I've worked a lot of live sound, and but it was before I moved to Texas. I was living in Bartlesville, and I was working at the community center there, and they had Mannheim Steamroller come to town. And the front of house engineer, I was working with him, and he was at the time, he was even featured in Pro Sound magazine and stuff. He was like the longest running front of house engineer with one single artist. He was like he had been their front of house engineer for like 32 years at that time, I think. And he was like, yeah, man, anybody who's anybody puts their name on their product. And he started naming off all these audio brands. And I was like, okay, yeah. He's like, if you can't put your name on it, then your product's worth nothing. And then I was like, okay, well then I should, put my name on my studio. So that's really why I came up with AMR Studio. Because I had a lot of other studio names that I thought would be cool. But I went with that because I was like, well, this guy named off all these brands. And I was like, yeah. And he named instruments and pro audio gear. And I was like, yeah, that totally makes sense. So that's why.
Right on. Excellent. Anything you want to plug? I guess, well, your studio, we just plugged your studio.
Yeah. Well,
do you have any personal projects you're working on, band wise or just solo?
Yeah. So first I want to plug, if you want to learn music production, I teach at Tulsa Tech, the Riverside campus, and I also teach at Tulsa Community College.
Nice.
So it's a little too late to enroll at TCC, but you can still enroll for my classes at Tulsa Tech. And classes start this week. I enjoy teaching. I like helping people learn this stuff. So if you're interested, like definitely, look into that. I teach classes on music production.
Nice. Very nice. Well, man, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Unless you have anything else you want to share.
No, man, I'm good.
Unless
unless the listeners, the audience, have other questions for me, or you have some more questions for me, man, I'm good. I had a great time.
Nice. Yeah, likewise. Anyway, man, I want to say I appreciate your time and everything, and hope you have a good night.
You too. Thanks.
All right.